You have everything you were supposed to want, and still in the quiet moments, when the noise stops, there it is, something flat, something hollow, something that has no name in the modern world. You are not depressed. You know what depression feels like. This is different. You are not unhappy. You have moments of genuine joy. But underneath everything, underneath the productivity and the plans and the carefully maintained life, there is an emptiness you cannot explain. And because you cannot explain it, you cannot treat it. You cannot fix what you cannot name. The ancients had a name for it. They had studied it for centuries, written about it, warned about it. And their diagnosis, 2,000 years old, describes your life with a precision that should unsettle you. The word is acedia, from the Greek, akedos, without care, without concern, without the ability to feel moved. The early Christian monks called it the noonday demon, the hour when the sun is highest and the world seems most indifferent, when nothing feels urgent, nothing feels meaningful. The day stretches out like a desert with no horizon. The 4th century monk Evagrius Ponticus described it with terrifying accuracy. The man in its grip, he wrote, looks out the window constantly, checks whether anyone is coming, wonders if it would be better somewhere else, begins one task, abandons it, begins another, feels vaguely disgusted by his own life without being able to say why. Sound familiar? Evagrius was describing a desert monk in 375 AD, but he could have been describing you on a Tuesday afternoon. The modern world has no category for acedia, so it reaches for the nearest approximations: depression, burnout, boredom, lack of motivation, but none of them are quite right. Acedia is not the absence of energy, it is the absence of direction for energy. The person in acedia often functions perfectly well, goes to work, fulfills obligations, but they do it from a place of profound inner disconnection, as if watching their own life from a slight distance, present in body, absent in something harder to name. Thomas Aquinas, the medieval philosopher who gave acedia its most precise definition, called it tristitia de bono spirituali, sorrow about spiritual good. Not sorrow about what you have lost, sorrow about what you are, about what you are capable of, about the depth of life you sense is possible, but cannot seem to reach. Aquinas believed acedia was not a character flaw, it was a signal, a message from the deepest part of a person that something essential had been neglected. The ancient philosophers had a word for what acedia attacks. The Stoics called it pneuma, the animating breath, the inner vitality that gives life its texture and weight. Marcus Aurelius called it the daimon, the guiding spirit within each person, not supernatural, psychological, the part of you that knows beneath all the noise, beneath all the performance, what you are actually for. Marcus wrote, "Perfection of character is this, to live each day as if it were your last, without frenzy, without apathy, without pretense, without apathy." He listed it alongside frenzy as equal dangers, equal distances from a life fully inhabited, because the Stoics understood something the modern world has forgotten. Apathy, real apathy, the deep kind, is not a personality trait. It is what happens when a person has been separated from their own nature for too long, when the gap between who they are and how they live becomes too wide to ignore and too frightening to close. The ancients identified 3 primary sources of acedia, 3 ways the emptiness takes root. The first, the unlived calling. Every person, the ancients believed, carries something they are specifically fitted to do, not in a mystical sense, in a practical, observable, undeniable sense. There is work that, when you do it, makes time disappear, makes you feel most fully yourself. And there is work you do because it is safe, because it pays, because it is what was expected. Seneca wrote, "It is not that I am bold, it is that I know what matters." He spent decades in the Roman court doing work that was not his calling, and he wrote about the hollow fatigue of it with an honesty that still stings. When you spend years in the wrong life, the emptiness is not random, it is precise. It is the exact shape of what you abandoned. The second, the severed connection. Human beings were not designed for the level of isolation the modern world produces. Not physical isolation, something subtler. The isolation of being surrounded by people who do not truly know you, of performing a version of yourself competent, composed, fine, while the actual self waits unseen in a room no one is ever invited into. Aristotle called deep friendship another self, not comfort, not entertainment, another self, someone in whose presence you become more fully who you are. Without this, something in the psyche slowly starves, not dramatically, quietly, the way a fire goes out when no one adds wood. The third, the refusal of transcendence. Every serious philosophical and spiritual tradition in human history agrees on one thing. Human beings require contact with something larger than themselves to remain psychologically whole, not necessarily religion, not necessarily God in any traditional sense, but something, beauty, meaning, awe, the sense of participating in something that will outlast you. The modern world has made this difficult to access and easy to mock, and the cost, invisible, cumulative, devastating, is a civilization full of people who have everything and feel nothing. The desert monks who named Acedia lived in radical simplicity, no notifications, no endless scroll, no algorithmically optimized stimulation designed to keep them just engaged enough to never be truly present. And still the noonday demon found them. Imagine what it does in a world specifically engineered to prevent stillness. The modern response to acedia is more stimulation, more content, more noise, more distraction from the distraction. But Evagrius knew, and every serious philosopher since has confirmed, that stimulation does not cure acedia, it feeds it, because acedia is not caused by too little happening. It is caused by too little meaning in what is happening. And you cannot scroll your way to meaning. You cannot consume your way to a sense of purpose. You cannot optimize your way out of a crisis of the soul. The monks had a practice they called ora et labora, pray and work, not as a cure for acedia, as a discipline against it. The point was not the prayer or the work specifically. The point was the commitment to showing up fully, physically, repeatedly, even when you felt nothing, especially when you felt nothing, because they understood something modern psychology is only beginning to confirm. You do not feel your way into meaningful action. You act your way into meaningful feeling. Marcus Aurelius wrote at dawn, "When you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself I have to go to work as a human being, not as a professional, not as a productivity machine, as a human being, whose work is to be fully present to the life that has been given to them." Seneca's prescription for the hollow life was always the same: recede in te ipse, withdraw into yourself, not escape, not avoidance, the opposite, a deliberate, courageous turning toward the inner life that the noise has been preventing you from inhabiting. Here is what acedia is actually asking, not what is wrong with you, but what have you been refusing to face. The emptiness is not a malfunction, it is a message. Aquinas believed acedia always pointed toward something specific that the person had abandoned, a calling ignored, a truth avoided, a depth of self that had been traded for convenience or safety or approval. The question is not how to fill the emptiness, the question is what created it. Sit with that question, without reaching for your phone, without filling the silence. Let the question be present long enough to receive an honest answer. You already know what it is. You have always known. The word acedia disappeared from common language sometime in the modern era. We decided we didn't need it, that we had better words, better diagnoses, better pills. But the experience it named did not disappear with the word. It only became harder to recognize, harder to speak about, harder to treat. Because you cannot heal what you cannot name, and you cannot name what the culture has decided does not exist. The ancient philosophers, the monks in their desert cells, the Stoics in their Roman courts, were not smarter than you, they were not more spiritually gifted. They simply lived in a world that still believed the inner life was worth attending to, that the emptiness a person feels is not a problem to be managed. It is an invitation to stop, to look, to ask with genuine honesty, for perhaps the first time, what kind of life am I actually living, and is it the one I was made for? The noonday demon has been waiting for you to ask that question, not to destroy you, to finally, after all this time, begin to set you free.